Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to give it about 2 minutes to let some stragglers join in here. But we're really excited to have you all with us here today. So thanks again for joining, and we're gonna have some fun today and learn about remote video monitoring. Matt, if you don't mind, just kind of admitting everyone as they come in, if they get
Sure
stopped
thing.
at the.
Can you
Feel
guys
free
hear me?
to. Yeah, we can hear you, Larry. Thanks for hopping on here. Um, Everyone, feel free to use the chat button Q&A feature. Let us know where you're joining in from. Um, we always love seeing, folks from around the country who's joining from where. So if this is a little early for you, we apologize if you're on the West Coast. We'll get going in just about a minute or so. The people joining in, welcome, welcome. We'll get going here shortly. Just give everyone a couple extra minutes to join in. All right. We'll give it about 30, and then we'll get going. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. Looking forward to sharing some facts and benefits, some use cases of remote video monitoring with you all. It's a new feature that Alarm.com just rolled out, and we are fully integrated with Dynamarks Monitoring Center. So really excited to have you all here today and be able to share some of these benefits with you all. So got some more people coming in. We'll give it 30 seconds. All right. All right. I think we've still got some people jumping in, but we'll let them in as we go. I want to be respectful of everyone's time and get started on time here. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Bennett Cohn. I'm sure I spoke with many of you on the phone, or maybe you got an email from me, but we are so glad to have you with us here today. A little bit about myself. I'm a corporate account associate with Alarm.com, and I work very closely with Dynamark Monitoring on really everything related to Alarm.com. So I'm really happy to be here with you all today. I'm joined by some of my colleagues who I will let introduce themselves now. Maddie and Larry, if you want to introduce.
Hey everyone, my name is Maddie. I'm on our strategic sales team here at Alarm.com, working with our awesome monitoring station partners like Dynamark to roll out remote video monitoring to our dealer base.
All right, and hey everybody, my name's Larry Connor. I'm Director of Operations for Dynamark Monitoring. Ben and I work really close together on everything Alarm.com, and I've actually been heading up the remote video monitoring console for the last probably about 17 months, testing out and making sure it's working good for you guys.
Awesome. So you guys are in great hands with Maddie and Larry. Can't say that about myself, but thank you both for those introductions, and thank you all again for joining. So we wanted to host this webinar specifically for Dynamark subs, sub dealers, and integrators that use Dynamark as a central station, so that we can really show you all the benefits that remote video monitoring, or RVM, can do for your business and for your customers. So throughout this presentations, we're going to show you how Alarm.com's remote video monitoring console through Dynamark's monitoring service can open a new vertical for your business, increase customer attachment rates, build RMR, and of course, differentiate your business from competitors. So again, one last thank you. We really appreciate your time today. This is going to be fun. So before we get going, just some housekeeping. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to use the Q&A or chat button features. You can also use the chat feature to chime in anytime you want or share a use case, bounce ideas off each other. This is an open space. We want this to be as interactive and as engaging as possible for everyone here. So but we will be sure to address any questions that come into the chat or the Q&A at the end of the presentation. So let's get going. To kind of set the stage here, let's take a quick look at what remote video monitoring looks like in action with a real customer use case from Dynamark Monitoring.
With proactive video monitoring, Dynamark can quickly verify security threats and share the details with dispatchers.
This is the Fulton County Emergency Communications. What are you reporting?
This is Dynamark Monitoring. There's a possible burglary in progress at the Martin Howard Complex, 9415 Southeast Tanner Drive. I have video verification of a break-in at the front door. 3 masked suspects, 1 is armed. 2 are wearing orange reflective vests.
And this is a live feed you're looking at, correct?
Yes, they are currently outside the front entrance. They have a black pickup truck with black rims.
And you're with Dynamark Monitoring?
Yes.
After Dynamark verified the threat, the dispatcher could instantly share all of the relevant details to the police department.
Thank you for verifying. I've got the site address pulled up. We'll have officers out there as soon as possible.
Prevent crime before it happens. Call Dynamark today to learn how.
So hopefully that audio came in good for everyone. But guys, this was real. All right, this was a real use case. This was a Dynamark who had remote video monitoring where we caught this attempted break-in. And you may be asking, how did Dynamark receive this alert? What triggered it? So remote video monitoring is all ran through Alarm.com video analytics. With remote video monitoring, you set up a normal video analytics rule like people detection or vehicle detection with tripwires or ground zone areas of interest to be the actual event that triggers an alert to be sent to Dynamark Central Station. So this Dynamark customer is a business owner who had his outdoor camera set up to send an alert to Dynamark based on loitering outside of his front entrance through Alarm.com video analytics. So the rule was set up to say, if any person is detected in the specified ground zone for more than a minute while his system was armed, then an alert would be forwarded to Dynamark Central Station operators, where they can then live view into the camera stream that captured the event and then use the video and camera features, which we'll talk about more as we go on, to actually take action on the situation. So, as you can see in the video, within seconds, the operator was able to identify weapons and immediately dispatch police. In the world of crime, timing is everything. And that is why getting ahead of an actual alarm event is so valuable for everybody involved, for you as the integrator, for your customers, for Dynamark's operators, and of course, for first responders. So with remote video monitoring, Dynamark was able to dispatch police before an alarm was even triggered, giving first responders that much more time to catch these bad guys. And the police actually were able to catch one of these perps due to the quick action that remote video monitoring was able to provide. So awesome use case there. Thank you, Dynamark, for into a little bit of a deeper dive with a quick, solution overview. So previously in the world of video monitoring, through resources like visual verification, we were able to help dispatchers verify an alarm event. So an alarm would be triggered and sent to the central station, where operators could then live view through the camera to make a determination of what they want to do. The only kind of downfall with visual verification is that the alarm was already triggered. With remote video monitoring, we're actually taking it a step further to get ahead of the alarm event even happening in the first place. So, like I was saying in the video, remote video monitoring is able to highlight non-alarm video events for monitoring station review. And this is all done, again, through Alarm.com video analytics rules. So, taking a quick look at the image here on the screen, it's dark. Your customer is likely asleep as this hooded man kind of lingers around their car. With remote video monitoring, your customer could have an Alarm.com video analytics rule set up to send Dynamark an event if a person is detected, around their car from, maybe the hours of 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. or maybe when their system is armed. At that point, Dynamark can then assess the situation and take action. So not only is remote video monitoring really vital for speeding up emergency response time, because we're getting ahead of the alarm, and it can also operators can also use the live video as a descriptor resource when dispatching police. but it can also act as a live deterrent, as central station operators can access camera features like warning sounds and talk down through the remote video monitoring console. And we'll have some more examples of those as we get through the presentation as well. So as I mentioned, I mentioned visual verification, right? It's very important to understand how remote video monitoring is different from visual verification. Visual verification is awesome. It's something that we've offered for a long time. Like I said, it allows central station operators to see a live view of cameras once an alarm has been triggered. Again, their only problem there is that the alarm is going off, or that the alarm going off is actually what sends the event code to Dynamark. So in most cases with visual verification, a crime or suspicious activity is already taking place with visual verification. Now with remote video monitoring, your customer's video analytics rule setup is actually what triggers the event code to be sent to Dynamark, as I've said. Using video analytics, your customers can use people or vehicle detection, specify ground zones or tripwires to be the event that sends the notification to Dynamark. And of course, they can customize these rules to certain times of day when the system is armed, and of course specify, loitering times as well. So again, remote video monitoring is all about getting ahead of the crime. So no alarm needs to be triggered in order for an alert to be sent to Dynamark Central Station, where they can then take, kind of the same steps that we saw with visual verification in terms of, viewing that live camera, talking down through the camera, using warning sounds, and of course, dispatching police. So now we're going to take a look at some use cases and some common areas where we see remote video monitoring being used successfully today. And I'll hand over the baton to Maddie to get us started in this section here.
Thanks, Bennett. So when and how are folks leveraging remote video monitoring? We're seeing live accounts being loaded in all of these locations listed on this slide and more. So we can put video cameras in these places, but really want to focus on what problems are we actually solving with the addition of remote video monitoring. So starting off with new construction sites, for example, we can now have an extra set of eyes on those exterior valuables. The US alone sees approximately $1 billion in annual construction site theft. So when we consider, the manual labor of moving all of those supplies to a secure location at the end of the day versus a one-time configuration of a professionally monitored video system, it's an absolute no-brainer. We're saving time, we're saving money, and we also no longer need to rely on our employees to protect those exterior assets. Like Bennett said, we know that time is everything when preventing theft. Similar to the new construction sites, we can also have an added layer of protection for outdoor equipment. Think locations like truck parking, contractor yards, and more. We all know that recovery rates on stolen outdoor equipment are quite low. Recovery costs in the instances where they are found are extremely high. So, we used to only be able to protect what was inside the four walls of our home or business. We are now protecting what is outside of those locations with Alarm.com video using remote video monitoring with Dynamark. So this is huge. And then lastly here, as it relates to commercial and retail locations, this one is a bit more twofold. So first, we are helping avoid incidental costs, and two, we're also deterring negative reputational damage. So back when I was in high school, I worked at an ice cream parlor, had to walk through a large parking lot to dump our trash in the dumpster at the end of a long summer night shift. So we had many instances of folks coming and dropping off their personal trash in the company dumpster. This adds a lot of cost to the company, in this instance, the ice cream parlor, in addition to having younger high school age folks walking decently far distances in the dark at nighttime. Didn't say we necessarily felt the safest. So being able to, one, avoid the incidental costs, and two, ensuring that not only your customers, but also your employees feel safe and comfortable and have peace of mind knowing that the workplace is protected adds a ton of value. Now we have some Alarm.com and Dynamark retail customers who have deployed remote video monitoring to deter very highly skilled thefts who are quite familiar with timing and technique of break-ins, and crime has been stopped in those locations. So Larry's going to shed a little bit of light on those examples here now. And Larry, I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so we had a commercial location where the car pulled up in the rear of the building and set off the remote video monitoring. The operator received the call and was able to just keep eye on the camera and just looked at it and thought something wasn't, kosher about what was going on. So they decided to dispatch. The police went on scene, and there was 4 people in the car who all had felony arrest warrants. So one of the biggest things is we were able to prevent them from breaking into the location, and actually were able to apprehend 4 people that had arrest warrants. So it was a good day for the good guys.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Larry. Fantastic use cases there. Guys, if you have any of your own use cases, anything that you've seen before, any ideas of, any other areas where you feel like remote video monitoring could be useful, feel free to drop those in the chat, as we go through these here. So now, looking at storage units. So in the theme of storage units, we're really talking about any self-service areas. So places where customers are going to be alone. We all know that, storage units typically are not in the best parts of town. So the real differentiator here with remote video monitoring is that you can now extend this sort of peace of mind, not only to the business owner, but also to the customers that are using these areas, so they feel safe and secure when going to access these places, alone. Personally, if I'm going to a storage unit, I would take peace of mind in knowing that the facility is not only video monitored, but it's actually video protected. Moving on to vehicle lots, vehicle lots are attracting more and more theft every year. In fact, theft in vehicle lots is up about 23% since the beginning of 2023, and that's for a lot of reasons. These lots attract a lot of different types of crime. So we're talking grand theft auto crime in dealerships, petty theft of parts and wheels, and this might hit a little close to home. But when we're talking about vehicles that vehicles like the ones that your technicians are driving around, those attract a lot of low-level criminals like drug addicts who are trying to break into these cars to steal metals like aluminum and other kind of metals that go into their concoctions. So because of all this crime, vehicle lots invest millions of dollars year over year in physical guards to actually patrol their properties. And guards are great, guards are awesome, but they're also human. And guards make mistakes, they fall asleep, they can be late, and most of all, they're expensive. So remote video monitoring can take not only this financial pressure off of lot owners, but it can also, act as that reliability aspect as well. So, it's going to be providing the same, if not better, services as 2 to 3 guards would provide. And again, if reliability is a concern for your customer, then remote video monitoring is absolutely going to fill that void there. And then finishing off with high-end residential, we have been seeing a ton of success in remote video monitoring for high-end residential space. And that's because wealthy people, they're willing to invest in a protection like remote video monitoring because they know that in the long run, it's going to be cheaper to protect the expensive stuff that they already have rather than have to replace or fix the property that will get stolen or damaged. And I say will because big houses attract big-time professional criminals who are looking for their own sort of return on investment, right? So with remote video monitoring, you can offer increased property visibility to your customers and provide a service that will help them, sleep easier at night, knowing that your business will be working for them around the clock. So again, this is a super hot area for remote video monitoring right now in the high-end residential space. Not to mention, rich people have rich people friends. So the word of mouth spreads really quickly in this market, and this is a great thing to offer at your next or maybe even first high-end residential install. So moving on here. So I'm sure, you're all familiar with Perimeter Guard and two-way audio. But if not, with Perimeter Guard, customers can set up a rule to play a warning sound from the camera. So for example, I can have my camera whistle at people if they're detected on my stoop when my system is armed, right? And with two-way audio, customers can actually enter their live view camera stream and talk down through the video camera if it's supported with two-way audio. So these are great features but your customers need to have already had a rule set up or physically be in their system to utilize these features. So, what if they're asleep? What if they're in an important meeting, or maybe they don't have a perimeter guard rule set up? Good news is that with remote video monitoring, we can now extend these capabilities to actual monitoring station operators who can work on your customer's behalf on any time of day. So now with remote video monitoring, the event is sent to the station, operators can manually trigger a warning sound and choose to talk down from the camera itself, if it's a two-way audio supported camera, to let that person know, hey, they're being monitored, they need to leave this area, or police will be dispatched. So, we were talking a little bit earlier about how remote video monitoring is obviously great for speeding up emergency response time by getting ahead of the alarm, but it's also a great deterrent. We'll take an actual look at what a use case of a deterrent feature looks like in a bit. So speaking of perimeter guard and how it can work kind of hand in hand with remote video monitoring, we wanted to share this short clip of that in action. So I'll play this video real quick. Hopefully you can hear the sound here. You're gonna see some kids walk up onto the stoop, take note of the shirts that they're wearing. So hopefully you all could hear that whistle. Those kids scurried off. Here it was two teenagers. They were up to no good, approaching the front door of a home at night. And as they walked up to the door, the perimeter guard rule was triggered to have that camera whistle as a deterrent feature. So, that's a great rule to have in place. But with remote video monitoring, bundled in with perimeter guard, that rule of the perimeter guard being triggered actually also triggered a remote video monitoring alert to be sent to Dynamark Central Station, who was able to notify police that, hey, there's two kids, out in the neighborhood looking for trouble. So thanks to remote video monitoring and Dynamark's response, police were actually able to catch these two kids. I'm sure they didn't get arrested or anything, take them back home. Maybe they got grounded. But as you can imagine, it wasn't too hard to find these two, because I don't know if you saw the shirt, but the kid was walking around with a shirt that said "I love sluts" on it. So it's not too hard to find somebody walking around at midnight looking like that. So, just another example of how remote video monitoring is really making everyone's lives a little easier, a little safer, a little more secure, while also, providing a good laugh every now and then too. Here. So let's take a look quickly at what a actual Dynamark Central Station operator sees when a remote video monitoring alert comes into their station, and see how a feature of remote video monitoring two-way talk down, which I was mentioning a couple slides ago, can actually be utilized. So let me adjust this video quality for everyone. There we go. Hopefully that's a little clear. So first here, the what we call a VA PERS, or video analytics person event, coming into Dynamark Central Station software. So then the operator is going to go ahead and click into that link. And when the operator clicks in there, they're taken to Alarm.com's remote video monitoring console, where they can then enter the live view of the camera that actually captured the event, which is what we'll see now. So the operator is going to click into the camera here, the one that captured that video analytics, and they're going to assess the situation. So you see a hooded man kind of snooping around a car here, and of course they will take action to notify police here, but they also choose to use the two-way talk down feature and say, hey, this is a monitored property, leave immediately, and you'll see here this perp gets pretty spooked and runs off. So great example here of how remote video monitoring is not only great for visual verification for police speeding up, but also can act as that. So looking at some requirements here, I'll hand it back over to Maddie, and we'll look at videos for remote video monitoring, or supported cameras.
Awesome. So we would be remiss if we were talking about remote video monitoring without giving a quick overview of our Alarm.com video hardware lineup. As you all have seen throughout this presentation, we've made significant advancements to both the hardware and the software of our video solution over the past couple of years. So I want to go through these cameras with you real quick. Do want to make note that all analytic supporting cameras are going to support remote video monitoring. Keep in mind the ones with the little speaker icon next to them are also going to support the two-way talk down feature. So keep that in mind as we go through these. So we'll start really quick with our 515 and 523 indoor Wi-Fi cameras. Right next door, we have our 723 and 724 cameras. Very similar. The 724 does have that two-way audio, so keep that in mind. All four of these cameras support human, vehicle, animal analytics, as well as the ability to draw those ground zones and tripwires to ensure that we're only picking up analytics within those specific areas of interest. Taking a look at this bottom row on the left here, we have our three gorgeous doorbells. First being our 750. The temp range for the 750 is negative 58 Fahrenheit to positive 122 Fahrenheit, or negative 50 to positive 50 Celsius. This 750 doorbell is a stripped down version of our flagship 770. So where the 770 is going to have both human analytics and package detection, and the potential to be built out with future capabilities in kind of down the line, the 750 at this time has human detection analytics only. And then third here, we have our 780B. This is our battery powered doorbell. This does require our smart chime, our W115C to function. Great doorbell for where we don't have existing infrastructure or wiring, or in a more temporary housing situation like a rental, for example. And then as we take a look on the bottom right, we have our Pro Series cameras. So these are our commercial grade NDAA compliant cameras. We have our 827 and 847 domes. The 827 has a fixed lens and the 847 has a varifocal lens. And then we have our 728 bullet, our 838 turret. These two cameras record at 4 megapixels to our commercial grade stream video recorder. And then last but definitely not least, we have our 727. Easiest way to think of this camera is essentially the PoE version of our 724. So all 5 of these Pro Series cameras also support human, vehicle, animal detection, ground zones, and tripwires, in addition to our business activity analytics. So we've translated our classic video analytics to pertain more to the commercial space, including features like heat mapping, crowd gathering, queue monitoring, people counting, and occupancy tracking. So our camera lineup is certainly built up. We're super excited about the future of Alarm.com video. And if you have any questions on specific specs of these cameras, you're welcome to reach out to any of us or leverage the knowledge base. In terms of service packages for remote video monitoring, we wanted to keep this as simple as possible. So residential side, you can use premium video or pro video with Analytics 3000. On the commercial side, any commercial video package is going to support remote video monitoring. All we need to do is select that add-on.
Thank you, Maddie. Hopefully you all can tell who the more technical one of the Alarm.com bunch is here. So appreciate you running through that. Now I'm going to hand it over to Larry to go over some, setup tips, benefits, and reminders just from the Dynamark side. So Larry, take it over.
Yeah, and before I get started, Maddie, just to confirm, the new floodlight camera will also work with the remote video monitoring, correct?
That is correct. And we have a picture of that at the end here that we'll show y'all.
Just wanted to point that out. Okay.
Yep.
So first thing I wanted to talk about is the benefits. So wanted to thank everybody again for jumping on the call here. I know how hard it is for business owners to jump on a call in the middle of the day and interrupt their day. But we think remote video monitoring is the future, and I do believe it's going to be a great way for everyone to drive RMR, which is why we're all in business here. And the biggest thing about this is we have the ability to prevent crime from ever occurring now, instead of actually reacting to it, waiting for the alarm to sound and then reacting to a trigger. So I wanted to go over some benefits that we've seen. First one's crime prevention. The presence of visible video monitoring can deter criminal activity in the first place. Criminals are less likely to engage in unlawful behavior when they know that they're being watched. This can lead to a decrease in crime such as vandalism, theft, and burglary. Number two, immediate response. Remote Video monitoring allows for real-time intervention. Just as we saw the two kids walking up the deck, when suspicious activity is detected, security personnel or law enforcement can be alerted promptly and enables them to respond quickly and potentially apprehend the suspects before they commit a crime. Reduction in false alarms. We've been fighting this battle ever since I've been in the industry for 27 years. Visual verification and the remote video monitoring can help reduce false alarms by allowing the operators to verify the nature of the event before taking action. In a lot of jurisdictions now, visual verification is going to become mandatory. So it's something to look for in the future. Of course, evidence collection. This can ensure that critical events are captured in camera and provide the authorities with the documentation they need to actually pursue the criminals. Crime deterrence through awareness. In addition to deterring criminal behavior at a specific location, remote video monitoring can also contribute to a broader awareness of surveillance technology. When people know that video monitoring is prevalent in a public space or a business, it can serve as a general deterrent against criminal activity in the community. And the other thing is cost savings. In the long run, the remote video monitoring can save money by reducing the need for constant on-site security personnel and minimize losses due to theft, vandalism, or other criminal activities. So we see it as a great addition to RMR. So to kind of go over the operator process, so Bennett kind of already went over it, but just to kind of show you what happens at Dynamark. So just like a burglar alarm, we would get an alarm at the monitoring center, and it comes in one of these three ways. It comes in as a video analytics person alarm, vehicle analytic vehicle alarm, or video analytic animal alarm. So the majority of these that we've been seeing are persons and sometimes vehicles, depending on how the actual rule is set up. The operator then, once they get the alarm, they have the ability to go into the alarm.com user interface, which you guys have seen earlier. And the first thing we have them do is go look at the live view. So they look at the live view, and they're allowed to look at the live view for up to 3 minutes to see if there's a potential threat of something getting ready to happen. If they don't see anything, they can go back to the user interface and look at the recorded clip. So as we know, the recorded clip takes some time to come in. So they're allowed, go back, look at the clip and see if they missed something from the live view. If during the live view or the recorded clip, they actually see a potential threat, then they would go and follow the action pattern that is there for them. So, with the action pattern, it depends. Some people want the police dispatched right away and then call through their contact list. Some people want to be called first. Some people want them to talk through the two-way talk down. So it just depends on, what you set up for each customer. I think this is really customizable, and it's really up to the customer what they want. So pre-installation. So one of the things, there is a little setup that you have to do to set it up with Dynamark. We have to enable it through the integration side. So we do need to set that up before you go on site. There's nothing worse on going on site on something and not being able to get it to work. So we definitely want to start there. When you go into the package, you want to set up the remote video monitoring console and only put in the number of cameras that the monitoring center is going to be monitoring, because there is a pass-through for every camera that's put on there. Select wireless two-way voice for applicable cameras. So you have to select two-way voice, and then also select two-way voice for non-doorbell cameras. One of the other biggest things that we see is make sure that there's enough upload speed. I know everybody's heard this before, but upload speed is very important for this, because with the live view, we want to make sure that the operators are able to see the camera and see a good feed of the cameras. And also, one of the biggest things we run into is nighttime recording. When you have the operators looking at night, we got to make sure there's enough light for the cameras to actually see what's going on. As far as setup, so once you have all those things done, we're setting it up with the customer. The customer has to approve the remote video monitoring console agreement and also the two-way audio agreement if that's applicable. You also have to go in and create an analytics rule. Now, when you go in and create the analytics rule, you have to go in as a tech. So you have to get permission from the customer, go in as a tech, and set up the rule. Once you set up the rule, the customer has no access to change the rule. The only thing they can do is pause it, or they can turn it off. But once it's set up, if they want to make any changes, you would have to change it. Make sure that the box is checked to forward the clips to Dynamark. So what'll happen is it'll actually have your company name there. So if your company name is ABC Alarm, it would say notifications to ABC Alarm. So not Dynamark. Also, we want to check signals with Dynamark and make sure the two-way voice is working. So before you leave, make sure that you're able to send the signal, the operators are able to see it, and then also test the two-way voice just like you would an alarm system. The other thing that's important is that the customer has to approve all the cameras that are being monitored, and they have to approve the two-way voice. So there's a checkbox under settings. They have to go in and approve those cameras. So when the operator gets the signal, they're able to view all those cameras. And the last thing, just some tips for success. One thing we've seen that will help the process go a little bit smoother. We've actually asked dealers to put the account on test for 7 days. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, one, weekdays and weeknights are going to be different. Weekends are going to be different. So you want to see what kind of activity you're getting during the day, what kind of activity you're getting at night, and also what kind of activity you're going on the weekends. One of our commercial accounts has a church that's right next door to it. So on Sundays, we were constantly getting calls coming in. So it takes away from the operators actually, looking at an account that has a real monitored signal coming in, or threat, I should say. So we want to make sure that we look at all that. So that way you can assess if you need to make any changes before actually making it go live. We also have threshold for signals. The analytics for alarm.com have been by far probably the best out of any other cameras that we've been using. But just like anything else, it does have false positive. So if it's a bunch of rain and we're getting a whole bunch of signals, what do we do in that case? So a lot of times, we'll automatically put it on test for an hour or 2 hours, or whatever we've deemed that it's going to take away from the amount of signals we're getting. The other thing is we want to set up realistic expectations for the customers. I've spoken to customers directly about this, and a lot of times they watch TV and they watch NCIS and Law and Order, and they think the cameras are going to be able to see a fly 2 miles away, and it doesn't work that way. So we want to make sure the customer really understands how it's going to work and what it's going to do for them. One thing that we suggest is not to install monitor cameras in high traffic areas. We had another instance where we installed the remote video monitoring in a marijuana shop. There was a restaurant next door, and because the next door neighbor's door wasn't masked out, every time the door was open, we got a signal. So that doesn't bode well. So make sure that's not high traffic areas. And then, what I mentioned earlier, just make sure you customize the action pattern when needed. So make sure we're doing, the right thing what the customer wants.
Thank you, Larry. And I will hand it over to Maddie now to go over some setup on the alarm.com side in terms of setting up those video analytics and setting up remote video monitoring as well.
Thanks, Bennett. Yeah, so we knew that we wanted to make the setup of remote video monitoring as straightforward as possible. You all are already super familiar with setting up video analytics rules. There's really not much more to it with remote video monitoring. So there is one additional checkbox to forward those clips over to Dynamark, and that's about it. From a setup process, it's really no different than creating a regular video analytics rule. Therefore, from a technician training perspective, it's also super easy and straightforward. Like Larry said, those recording rules are also service provider locked. So we have this in place for multiple reasons. From the customer perspective, we want to ensure that the feature operates properly for them, having those rules configured by you all with the experience you have with video analytics. We want to avoid truck rolls and service calls for you all as well. If the customer were able to change those, that might end up in a little bit of a disaster. And lastly, we want to make sure that Dynamark is only receiving the necessary clips they need to take action, and we're not infiltrating them with a number of clips that are not adding value. So we have to first configure those rules. Then we also do have to specify which cameras are going to be included in the remote video monitoring feature. So like Larry said, in the service package area, you're going to select the number of cameras to include in RVM. Also keep in mind from the customer perspective, they will have to navigate just one time to their settings page, click into monitoring station, and then check off which cameras should be enrolled, as you can see screenshotted here. This should be a super easy and seamless process to walk them through. And then again, we have those rules locked, their service provider locked to ensure the optimal performance. That being said, we also, of course, understand the importance of transparency with our subscribers. So we keep everything visible to them from the customer site as seen above here. Though they can't change those rules, they can view them and they can select which cameras should be opted in or out. Awesome. So getting to the good stuff, we know that there are plenty of remote video monitoring-esque features on the market. So why should you opt to use alarm.coms? We have a number of reasons listed out here. So first and foremost, all you need to take advantage of remote video monitoring is a camera. You don't need a bridge. You don't need any sort of wired solution. This can be leveraged on a standalone video account with only alarm.com cameras. So no additional hardware or configuration needed from your end. In addition to that, the installation is super quick and easy. Again, this is no different from any other alarm.com video installation. Straightforward, you have plenty of help documentation to aid you from both alarm.com and Dynamark. And it's also important to note that no advanced IT involvement is necessary for networking purposes. Something that we all know and love through our experience with alarm.com is that a one-app experience creates the stickiest, highest value customer. They can have every single service in one place. They are going to be logging into the alarm.com app 3 times more often than folks who just have security systems. So adding video and adding remote video monitoring on top of that is going to increase the customer lifetime value significantly for you all. And then lastly, though RVM can be used on a standalone video account, if that customer does have an alarm panel on site as well, we can tie RVM into the alarm where we can activate RVM only when the system is armed. So something to keep in mind, this really does work hand in hand with the security aspect of the system to create a unified experience for the customer. And then taking a quick look ahead, a heavy pour of our R&D efforts are moved into the video space. So pictured here is our 729 floodlight camera that Larry mentioned. This is going to be fully supporting RVM when it officially launches. We also have a third-party horn integration that we're currently working on developing. This will allow us to amplify the volume of the built-in speakers from our current cameras. I'm sure most of you have heard of or tested out our cell connector for access control. We are working to take that same technology and be able to apply it to video. So we'll be able to power alarm.com cameras via cellular. And then lastly, within the next couple months here, we are going to launch third-party camera support for remote video monitoring. So this kind of experience would look like an alarm.com camera picking up the analytic, sending that through to Dynamark, and then Dynamark would be able to leverage the live view of the alarm.com camera, as well as any third-party cameras on site to allow them a broader view of what's going on site. So we're super excited about the future of alarm.com video. We're super excited that remote video monitoring is rolled out and ready for you all. And we hope you're as excited as we are.
Thanks so much, Maddie. Great. So guys, we're kind of at the end of the presentation here, at the end of the road. So a quick look at some next steps and just kind of wrap this up. I want to say, thank you all for being here. As Larry said, I know as business owners and busy people, can be hard to take some chunk out of your day to come and learn with us. So really appreciate you all being here. And I hope that you got as much out of this as we put into it. And the great news is really, Dynamark is fully set up. So you can get going with remote video monitoring through Dynamark today. And Alarm.com and Dynamark, we are fully ready to support you in the setup, installation, training, and really anything that you all may need in terms of selling remote video monitoring to your customers. So for queries on remote video monitoring, please reach out to Larry, whose email is listed on the screen here. I'm also going to drop my email address into the chat in just a second, so you all can have that as well. I'm sure most of you already have it just from my emails that I've been spamming you with. But again, thank you all so much for being here. Hope you all got something out of it. If you don't learn anything else, just know that you can go to Dynamark, or if you didn't really pick up anything else, just know you can go to Dynamark. You can come to alarm.com, and we can get you set up with remote video monitoring today, and help you all get out there and start selling. So we're going to make our way over to the chat section, see if there's any questions that came in. And again, thank you all so much for being here. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, great rest of the week, and we are looking forward, like Maddie said, to seeing the future of alarm.com video with you all.
Looks like we have a couple questions in the Q&A, so feel free to send more if anybody's got them. Someone asked us, how does the alert get from the camera to Dynamark? Does it require an NVR? So no, it does not require the NVR. It could just be a standalone video system. Alarm.com would pick up that analytic, and then we're able to send it through to Dynamark.
Thank you, Maddie.
And then Caleb did respond to another question in the Q&A there as well. Thanks, Caleb.
Yes, Michael, the recording will be sent out after this presentation. You will get another email from, I believe, that no reply email at alarm.com. It'll have that recording. But if not, I'm going to drop my email in here. And if you don't get it for whatever reason, just reach out to me and I can send that over to you. But yes, the recording will be sent out to everyone.
Awesome. We'll hang out here for a couple more minutes if there's any other questions. If not, hope you all have an awesome day and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Larry, for taking time out of your busy day too. I know that
yes.
Same to you, man. We appreciate you having you here. You're on mute.
Second time I did that. Thank you guys too. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right.
We can, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And we'll just hang out for a couple more minutes. And if you have any questions, anyone, feel free to put them in the chat. We're still here. See my alarm.com logo on my shirt. It's another regular.
I'm a little far off from my Dynamark one.
I think that we should do a jersey swap, Larry.
All right. Next time you come out, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Got to get Krispy Kreme too.
Gotta come on Wednesdays.
All right. Well, it looks like everyone's kind of left for the most part.
Okay.
Again, thank you both for being here. Thanks, Caleb, for manning the chat for us. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you too.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your week. And thanks again. Feel free to reach out to us for anything related to remote video monitoring.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.